Well, if you ever read anything about the 1920s, then you know it was a big party all across the country back then. The School of the Arts in Winston-Salem is presenting a play that's a little, they call it, edgy and sexy. Director Cliff Odell says the play debuted off-Broadway in the early 2000s with Taye Diggs and Idina Menzel, and it tested the waters of what some are calling a, quote, interesting view of the 1920s.
It's a musical Wild Party. It's based on an epic poem that was written in the 1920s. And it's about some vaudevillian performers, a couple, one of which they're having trouble in their relationship. So Queenie decides to throw a party as a way to kind of get her lover a little excited and jealous, and get her to see how important she is to his life through this party. And things go awry when she winds up falling for somebody else. There's a lot of jealousy, unrequited love, lots of dancing, lots of drinking. It's the 1920s. It's got its naughty moments. If I were to describe it in 3 words, it's funny, sexy, sad.
Obviously, not your typical play at School of the Arts, but now that made it a bit more challenging when you're casting for this as a director.
When we're looking over our season, we make sure that we find shows that match the learning outcomes for our students. So some students need to do more with musicals, some students need to do more with drama, some students need, a combination of those things. So that's the first thing that we look for is our student needs. And then we find shows that kind of that fit that bill. And this one fit, especially when it comes to ensemble work.
So the Wild Party, as it's called, opens on November 7th. It runs for a couple of weekends at the Freedman's Theater, which is on the School of the Arts campus. So interesting little, he told me, he said a bit salacious.
A little spicy, huh?
So this is interesting. There were 2 versions of this play, and they ran simultaneously off Broadway. Now, one of them, he said, we didn't touch it because it had some darker sides to it that he said we didn't want to get involved with. But so this is actually the lighter of the 2, he said.
Oh.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
It sounds like a decision I would have made in college. Yeah, let's have a party and that's how I'll get him back. And it's so sad. You said, but wait and listen. And then he finds somebody else. That's horrible.
I know.
Maybe she found somebody
Well, actually,
else.
she
too.
found
She
somebody.
found
She's the one that found somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess it worked out then,
It's
but
gonna
not
be-
what she had intended.
Well, that's not your typical play.
Right.
Let's just say that. Get your tickets now. They'll sell out. We'll be right back.